Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Lift and Sketch with Christy and Rachel. Today Christy and I are taking on that layout by Adrian Alves for Hip Kit Club that you saw at the beginning of the video. So what I have today is one 4x4 photo, or it will be 4x4 once I trim it down, and it is a layout from Halloween, or it is a photo from Halloween, and I do have one piece of Spellbound pattern paper from Fancy Pants. This was their Halloween release last year, and I really like both sides of the paper, both this purple tone on tone with the X's, and then this bold black and white plaid. This is one instance where I haven't decided exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to kind of mull it over, play with some things. I promise at that point I will be fast forward so you don't have to worry about it while I try to do this layout. I also pulled out my gesso. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any mixed media. But so this is kind of one of those, I loved this layout. I thought it was so super cute when I saw it. I thought immediately I want to lift that layout. And now I'm sitting here wanting to do it. And I'm like, oh, sugar, I don't know exactly what to do. So I'm going to go ahead, get you guys put on fast forward. I will cut out parts where I'm just sitting there staring at the page. And before I do that, I do want to remind you, make sure you head on over to Christy's channel. I will put a link in the description box so that way you can check out her take on this layout. All right, folks, you have to pardon me. I'm actually holding Xanthi because she won't stay out of the film. I've filmed this like 4 times and she's being super duper obnoxious right now. So I'm going to say, let's get going. Okay, I did forget to mention that the rest of what I'm using for this layout is the Moonstruck collection from Pink Paisley. I have a bunch of it. I bought a ton of it, and then I was starting to run out of papers, but I still had tons of embellishments. And this is one of those lines where the colors really are original to what we have going on in scrapbooking right now. So my friend was destashing, so I actually went and bought more paper from her to replenish it because I was concerned that I'd have all these embellishments left over and there just aren't tons of lines out with this navy, pink, dark teal, and black color scheme. Tangent number 1. Okay, so as I said, I love this layout and I just wasn't, it's not my normal to use dark cardstock, and so I thought, oh, I'll just use pattern paper instead. And I'm just going through now, even though the tonal qualities are very similar between this Spellbound paper and the Moonstruck paper, there really isn't any purple in the Moonstruck paper. So I wasn't finding anything to tie that Spellbound paper to the Moonstruck paper. Now, obviously, yes, I could have just tossed the Spellbound paper aside and worked exclusively with the Moonstruck paper, but I had bought it with this photo in mind. And this photo, my housemate is obviously dressed up for Halloween. She has purple tones in her makeup and in her costume that I really did want to have some of that purple be in there. Now, obviously, I could have changed out the Moonstruck collection, but once again, I liked the elements in it. So finally, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go in. I don't have a ton of colored cardstock, but I do have quite a few grays because I tend to stick with the neutrals with my cardstocks. I have tons of white, a little bit of black, a little bit of gray, and then I do have that one purplish gray color, and it's actually called Plumberry. And I bought a 25 pack of them from Tuesday Morning because I went slightly insane for a minute. And I'm like, get it home, like, what am I ever going to use 25 pieces of lavender gray paper? So I did take a picture of this. It's called Bewitched. It's from last year, but it might be available in certain places in case you want to get it. It was a very blurry photo. Sorry. Okay, so I'm thinking about it and thinking about it. And finally, I'm like, you know what? If I just cut along the bold black stripes in a similar fashion to what Adrian did, I think I'll get a very similar look. And I did. And I did make one mistake where I cut on the wrong side, but it's fine. You can't tell. I was actually surprised that I really only made one mistake. And actually, I very, very much like the way this turned out. I was very pleased. Finally, it did take a while. I did, as I say, pause and come away and stuff like that because I just could not figure out what I wanted, but in the end, I very much like this. So I'm trying to figure out, I do want to use that strip of vellum. Ugh, Xanthi. She's being obnoxious because I wouldn't hold her anymore. So, okay. So, yeah, idiot. Um, so I decide I want to use that navy constellation sky piece. I think that works in my brain. I'm thinking, oh, she's dressed up as a pirate, and the pirates, like seafaring people, use the stars to map the water by, and it's kind of like, and I'm like, wow, that's way too deep for a scrapbooking page, really way too deep. So all right, tangent number two. So I am going to mat my photo. I start off with this piece from the Moonstruck collection, the black and white houndstoothy piece, and then I'm going to flip it over, and then I think, oh wait, you know what? I think I should bring some of that purple in. Bring the purple in from the background piece, also get some of that purple pattern paper on my layout as well because I did like that side as well. It doesn't quite fit the entire photo, but it's enough that I highly doubt anyone's going to go, why doesn't that purple paper go all the way up to the corner? So I am going to go back and ink up all of my things while Xanthi blatantly goes after my ATG while I'm sitting there. Hello. Um, So I'm going to go ahead and ink up everything with Hickory Smoke Distress ink. And I'm going to go back and do everything, including that black and white paper, just to keep everything consistent. And here we go, trying to ink up angled pieces of paper. Not the easiest thing. Oh, and see, that's where I messed up. I'm just going to tape that down with some washi tape on the back end before I glue it down. Basically, I was concerned that when I started running my tape runner over it, I would accidentally get it, grab it, and rip it off, because that is totally what I would do. Okay, so I'm putting a decent amount of tape down, and I could say it's because of this or because of that, but the truth is that's what I always do. I'm a big adhesive person. I was going to use another word that begins with W and rhymes with bore, but then I get concerned that people think like I use that word to actually refer to other women, and I don't. I use it more in the Mean Girls sense. Um, of Regina, what's her face? Okay, tangent number 3. All right, so I wanted to use this vellum piece, but the most interesting part of the gold swirl was right in the center under the photo, so I trimmed it in half and flipped it around so that would be visible rather than hidden behind the photo. And I really wanted to use that because it matches the gold marble swirl in the ampersand that I'm using as part of my title. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead, add a little bit of tape underneath where the photo is. I'm going to come back with my tiny attacher and just put a staple at the top and at the bottom, less for a design purpose and more just to keep it stuck down. So here I'm taking 3 Shimmers Mists, Plum Pudding, Pink Moscato, and Princess. So it's a medium purple, a light purple, and then a hot pink, almost magenta color. And I'm doing something I don't normally do for one reason and one reason only. And that's because I am a horrible circle maker. So I do not normally do this technique of dragging the mist wand over the background piece, but I felt that I needed it. I don't know why, I just did. And I don't even think this is part of like doing the lift. It's just something that, once I start working on something, even if I'm lifting or using a sketch, once I get into it, I then start adding things to it. So I'm just doing a circle in each of the colors, and then I'm going back and dropping sprinkles with the same colors, and then I'm going to also drop sprinkles with my Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine. I'm not going to do a circle with that, I'm just going to do the sprinkles, and that's to bring that gold that's on the ampersand and the vellum and some of the embellishments into the background piece as well. So I went ahead and let that dry, and now I'm starting to build my layout back up, just trying to find the right placement of that vertical strip of paper versus my photo. Now I'm going to add these butterflies, and I don't necessarily think it makes sense to have butterflies unless you know my housemate, and then it makes total sense to have butterflies on what's slightly like a Halloween-esque type layout. So at first I thought about using some dark gray alphas, but it was too dark, so I pulled out several different gold ones, and I'm just going to see what will work best. I'm going ahead and gluing that butterfly on the photo. Then I try to glue the photo to the strip of paper, and I totally mess up where the photo and the paper meet. It's like, oh yeah, that's totally not right. Go ahead and get that strip of paper down, and here's where I'm adding the tiny attacher staples, but I needed to re-glue my strip down because I didn't like where it was. And I'm sure it was like, you know, a millimeter. But for some reason it was, you know, it's so funny because you look, when I watch back at these things, I sometimes say to myself, really, there's no difference. But then it's funny because my housemate, who's in the picture right now, she is a knitter, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I just made the worst mistake. She's like, do you see this? And I'm like, no, nobody sees that. You're the only person who's going to ever notice. And like at some point she was halfway through the back of a sweater and she ended up ripping it back all the way to the beginning because she like noticed this imperceptible error. I believe that's tangent number 4 if you're keeping track, as I am. All right, so I added a couple of little washi strips from the Moonstruck collection to the left side of the photo. I then also popped up using a Stampin' Up! Dimensional on the one side of the butterfly because of the layers of paper that are there. I also put that ampersand on dimensionals as well. I like the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals because they're very thin. So now I'm working on what I'm going to use for my title. And before I do that, I'm considering what to use. I am going to use these Fitzgerald. The Hip Kit ones were too shiny, and there just was not enough letters in the Dear Lizzie curly ones. So by default, Fitzgerald wins. But I'm a big fan of the Fitzgerald font, so it works for me. All right, I am laying down my embellishments now. Those indigo with gold clear-ish stickers. I'm going to be using those basically just to bring in that indigo navy color from the constellation paper. I pull out a couple more of the washi strips from the washi sticker set, and I'm going to then layer that butterfly on top of the tone-on-tone heart with the gold embellishment as die cut. Ooh, stopped speaking there for a second. Holy smokes. Okay, so I have also the clear-ish stick. I don't like, they're not clear stickers, but you can definitely see through to the bottom. And then I knocked my ink over, and I was very thankful I did not get ink all over my layout. So that, getting back to it, the clear stickers, they come in like a light lavender pink and then that really dark navy indigo. So I'm just doing a mix of those on different parts of that horizontal band I'm doing across the photo, across the layout. And now here I am doing the title, Spooky and Scary, in the same spot that it is in the original layout. Adding that puffy sticker. And then I'm going to use a couple of rub-ons. I have really liked the way these rub-ons work. As you can see, I don't have a lot left, and that's because I have actually been using them. Basically, what I'm going to do is trim out all these little gold hearts and little gold stars and kind of scatter them on different portions of my layout, on top of different die cuts and Yeah, I pretty much leave them on the die cuts. There's going to be a couple that go on the butterflies as well. All right, while I'm doing this, I'm actually almost finished. So I will just say, please make sure you head on over to Christy's channel, check out her take on this lift of Adrienne Alvis's layout. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I really, really appreciate it. Happy Halloween to all y'all who celebrate it. You know, may no one come to your door if you wish not for them to be there. All right, folks, I'm just doing my journaling in one of the little boxes. Basically, it's just what she dressed up for as Halloween last year. All right, folks, I am going to finish it off with just a little bit more mist in Pink Moscato, just kind of dropping it here and there. And that is going to be my layout for today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.